Well, good afternoon to many, good morning to some, and a good evening to a few of our presenters and our guests that are joining us from across the ocean. We want to welcome you all and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. For the fourth year in a row, we're proud to share Opportunity International's annual impact report, capturing not only our outreach, but also the outcomes and the transformation that is experienced by our clients. At the core of this work is our quest for greater resilience and opportunity for the people we serve. So, without any delay, I would love to introduce our CEO, ATUL Tandon. ATUL?
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. I trust you all can hear me, and thanks again for joining us this day, this morning, afternoon, and evening where you are. There are so many of you. I could spend the rest of the hour talking about, what impact your contributions have made on the lives of our clients, and frankly, what impact you've made on my personal life. We could talk about that, and there'd be not even enough hours in the day to fill those. But really, this is a impactful time for us, not only at Opportunity, but across the sector as we come together. And you will recall, many of you, a similar conversation we had. I think it was sometime in about March last year, as a seismic shift was happening in the world of humanitarian development, with the start of what turned out to be really a tsunami of the suspension of foreign aid. And from our own government and then many other governments. And that has continued over the last year, somewhere between 15 to $30 billion of foreign aid suspended, and more likely as we go forward. The question within the humanitarian sector has shifted. What will replace, what models will replace official development assistance, which has been the primary way that we have funded impact on the lives, changing the lives of people living in extreme poverty for now over 6 decades. What will replace it? And the answers are becoming somewhat clearer and obvious, though they're still being shaped and formed, as I would say to you, and we'll share more, is that some form of collaboration between the public sector, governments, and corporations and philanthropists is what will replace. Specifically, the answers are merging around this whole concept of how do we bring public and private capital to play. I want to pause for a moment, because that is precisely what Opportunity has been doing for 55 years. So whilst the industry is going through a seismic shift and searching for new models, we find ourselves in a place where our model of working with getting local banks to release local capital, to power up local entrepreneurs, small school owners, small shopkeepers, traders, small farmers, and then give them the support and the skills they need, and the community and the engagement they need to build incomes and get out of poverty. That model, in fact, has endured and today finds itself as the go-to model for many, many of our, not just peers, but governments and others. So there really is, in some ways, a time where what you've invested in and helped to build, especially in the last 10 years, as we transited from owning banks to now partnering with banks, it is now seeing much light on it. And I saw that as, those of you who were our board was and I were in Ghana in February this year, and I saw that in action. The endurance of opportunities model was clearest in that visit. You will recall that we had a big grant from the US government for our program in Northern Ghana. When that grant got pulled out, we came to you and asked you for support, and you stood in the gap. As a result of that, we were able to maintain our program and continue to fund about 230 schools, and now expanding across Northern Ghana. In Ghana, I was able to visit a school called Evergreen Academy. And I met with Pastor Vincent, who had founded the school. 3 students and 1 classroom as a part of his home, if you will, is where he had started. He felt in his village outside Ghana, the outside Accra, that they needed a better school. Got a loan from Senapiaba Trust, who has been an opportunity founded bank institution many, many years back. And with that loan, started to build the school. the Opportunities Education Quality Training Program. You'll hear from Lodina later today in the 7th webinar. Got engaged, and now we are training their teachers to teach better and the administrators to run the school better. And the result, really, what we could see was hundreds of students milling around in the school in their lovely uniforms. I still remember the marching band that greeted us, and tens of teachers who were excited to be there and teaching. And you could see the celebration and pride in the face of Pastor Vincent and his wife, and in fact, his own children who were going to that same school. And that was real joy made possible by all of you. That was real joy of being able to see what opportunity does, connecting the last mile and the first mile. We are present to the last mile of engaging, getting to know our clients, understanding their problems, and then helping the first mile, the local banks, to devise solutions for them. Last year, we had over 16 million last mile clients across the world. Last year, we had 148 institutional partners, up from about 26 in 2016. Released over $2 billion of capital just last year, about $32 billion since our time in 1971. And when you look at those numbers, I want to pause on that for a minute. Is those numbers represent, those dollars represent real money flowing to the very, very bottom of the pyramid, something that you all know is not easy to do. Most of the money, even in emerging economies, tends to stay within close to the capital, close to corporations, close to people who already have wealth. Hardly ever any goes to villages. The fact that we can introduce capital into the village communities with specific households, they're able to earn a living. That living, more income means more food, better housing, better clothing, better schooling, and that income in turn goes to the same community. So the amount of capital in circulation in the same community increases. The skills increase, the support increases. Because our story is not only that of capital, it really is of human lives. How human lives are changed. What happens when children are able to eat better and no longer experience stunting? What happens when the spouse in the family, typically the woman, the wife, is able to stand on her feet and earn a living? How her position within the household and her position within the community changes. For those of you who've been with me long, have known even my own story of my own mother, what I saw happen in her life as she started earning a living. And that story repeated millions and millions of times, which is what powers me, and I know powers our staff as we go out to engage not only those who are the least amongst us, but even amongst those, the marginalized women. Probably the largest community of marginalized people in the world, smallholder women farmers in Africa, has been our focus over the last few years. I will pause there because I could go on speaking, but there are so many stories to tell and so many exciting people to introduce you to. Thanks for joining, and thank you to my team again. This is a great production. Bye for now. Thanks.